My name is Charlotte. I'm 15, and my life is like a fairy tale. I am the only child of a very rich family. We have a big real estate business, and I am the heiress who is going to get a big stake in our company. I know for sure what the rest of my life is going to be like. Everything is already planned out, and I love it. School, university, practice in my company, and in a couple of years, I will be my father's right hand. But yesterday, everything was turned upside down. And now, my family hates me. Why did this happen? Here's my story. So, it was a normal workday. I was at school. My driver would bring me in and take me home all the time. But on this day, something went wrong. There was a big accident downtown that caused a traffic jam, and the driver couldn't get there on time. I couldn't wait because there was a birthday party for my mom at home that night. I called a cab. An old, shabby car pulled up, and my first impulse was to just turn away from the trip in such a clunker. But time was working against me. So I settled carefully in the back seat. And behind the wheel was a young guy who smiled at me with a cheerful smile and nodded his head. "Hi, half an hour and I'll take you to the right address." The guy wouldn't stop talking, and we laughed a lot. Ethan, the cab driver's name, was incredibly witty. He made jokes about the neighboring cars, the traffic lights, and even about himself. Laughter made tears come out of my eyes like a hailstorm. And then suddenly, he said a phrase that made me feel uncomfortable. You'll find out what Ethan said in a minute. But now, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you click the bell so you'll know when there's a new video on the channel. Suddenly, Ethan said, "You've already wet my seat with tears. How am I going to sleep now?" I'm sure it should have sounded like another joke, but it was the opposite. I asked him again, "Why does he have to sleep in the car?" And with a sad smile, Ethan said that he didn't have a home, and that the car was his only shelter, and that he'd been living like this for 2 years. I listened with bated breath. I couldn't believe there was such a thing in the 21st century. And all because Ethan's parents, when they were very young, got addicted to drugs. And a couple of years later, they died. And the child was placed in an orphanage by social services. Ethan ran away from there at 16 and has been living on the street ever since. And this car is his only treasure and source of income. And he got it by accident from a friend. His story stunned me. I felt a huge lump in my throat. I felt so sorry for the guy. "There's your house. Here we are," Ethan suddenly said as he stopped in front of the gate. And somehow I felt ashamed. I'd always thought that people living on the streets were the scum of society. Drug addicts, alcoholics, those who deliberately drove themselves to such a life. And then there was this guy. Clean, neat, and obviously not stupid. Something changed inside me. And I suddenly exclaimed, "Come with me, Ethan." I grabbed him by the arm and dragged him into the house. I was in the middle of preparations for my mother's birthday party. The hall was drenched in flowers, and light, unobtrusive music was playing. The waiters were running around like crazy, setting the table. Ethan was shocked by what he saw, and I was uncomfortable. My mother floated out to me in a gorgeous dress, as befitted a birthday girl. "Darling," she said, "hurry up. You need to change your clothes and get ready. The guests will arrive any minute." "Mom, I want you to meet Ethan," I blurted out. Mom looked the boy over from head to toe, and it was only now that I noticed how poor he looked. Yes, Ethan was wearing clean clothes, but his shirt was stitched up in places. His jeans had holes in the knees, and it was clearly not a fashion decision. "Daughter, the job opening for an assistant gardener is still open. But no one will do it now. Come back tomorrow, young man." Oh, I felt so ashamed. Mother thought that Ethan came to apply for the gardener's job? Mother, Ethan is my friend, and I've decided to invite him to the party, I said firmly. Suddenly, my mom grabbed my elbow and pulled me into the dining room. Ethan was still at the door. "Get him out of here right now," Mom hissed. "My guests are about to show up, respectable people, and this bum is ruining the whole picture." Oh, how angry I was at those words. I didn't expect that from my mother. "I'll get out of here myself, so as not to spoil your fun." And I stepped back into the hallway, but Ethan wasn't there. Oh no! I ran outside, and I realized that he was gone. He knew he wasn't welcome here. I went back into the house, and ignoring my mom, I ran to my room. I was so angry. How dare she treat people like that? Who gave her that right? I pulled out my suitcase and started throwing my things into it. "I'll get out of here. I'm getting out of here, and I'll never come back." After a minute, I rushed to the door, but it was closed. I pulled the knob again, and I heard my mother's voice. "Sit here and think about your behavior, Charlotte. You are grounded until tomorrow." And here I am, a rich heiress, sitting locked up in my room because I wanted to help a good guy. And knowing my mother, I would have to apologize and tell her how wrong I was to make it up to her. Or I could just tell her to go to hell and get out of here. What would you do if you were me? Would you choose wealth or humanity? Please write. I want your opinion. Hi, I'm Ashley from Colorado, and I want to tell you a story. I'm almost 15, and I knew from an early age that I was ugly. Yeah, that's what my mom used to tell me, and I believed her. She, unlike me, was a beauty and had even won the beauty queen crown several times at city pageants. She would show me pictures of her being given the crown, and I knew that she really was a beauty. When I was 13, my mom gave me a whole set of makeup and told me I had to learn how to do makeup. It would make me look pretty. When I told the girls in my class about it, everyone was jealous of me. And I was sad. And at 15, my mother took me to a plastic surgeon. I was very afraid and didn't want to go, but my mom convinced me that it was my only way out, not to be an outcast. The plastic surgeon turned out to be a very nice man. He talked to my mom first, then to me. I told him I didn't want to do anything to my face because I was afraid. But my mother. And then the surgeon said a phrase that threw me into a stupor. "I haven't seen a face as beautiful as yours in a long time, Ashley. Very correct features, high cheekbones, no need to change anything here. And when you grow up, you will be a very attractive girl." After that visit, of course, my mother was not happy. She said she would find another surgeon. This one was just an amateur. A couple of weeks later, my mother had a conference where she gave a speech. She practiced in front of the mirror for a long time, repeating her speech many times, and I was quietly watching her. I wanted so much to go to that conference, to support my mom. But she answered my question with a stern refusal. "There is nothing for you to do here, Ashley. Some other time." And frustrated, I stayed home by myself. But it just so happened that my mom was very close friends with the mom of a girl in my class, Clara. And Clara wrote me that she and her mom would be at this conference, and if I wanted, I could go with them. I was so excited. I was going to surprise my mom. An hour later, we were already sitting in a large hall, packed with people. I looked at the schedule a few minutes into my mom's speech. I held my breath when she started. She was so beautiful. I knew her speech by heart. So at the very end, I stood up on my chair and started clapping loudly and shouting, "Bravo, Mom! Bravo!" People turned around at me, smiled, and applauded too. But Mom, she changed her face when she saw me. She ran out to me and almost hissed. "What are you doing here, Ashley? I told you to stay home!" But then Clara's mom interrupted her. "What are you talking about, Corey? Ashley was so excited to get here. She's so proud of you. And anyway..." Clara's mom looked at me carefully and smiled. "Your Ashley has grown so big and gotten so pretty. She looks just like you did when you were young." Mom turned white with anger. She told me to go to the car. I kept thinking to what Clara's mother had said. She thinks I'm beautiful? But how? I'm ugly. In the car, I watched my mother argue with Clara's mother about something. Then, we drove home. Mom was quiet the whole time. I went home, sank down on the couch, and cried. I don't know how long I sat like that, but suddenly, I felt my mother's warm hand on my shoulder. I looked up at her in surprise. "I'm sorry, Ashley." Mom's voice was trembling. "I'm sorry for calling you ugly. That's not true. And Clara's mom helped me realize my mistake today. I'm just bringing you down." "Mom, I know I'm not pretty. And I don't care." Now I was trying to calm her down. Mom started crying. "No. You heard the surgeon and Clara's mom. You're beautiful. Ashley, you really are beautiful." Now I didn't understand anything anymore. I can't stand the fact that I'm getting older. I hate my wrinkles. I can't accept that I'm not a beauty queen now. That's why I made you believe that you're not beautiful. But trust me, we'll get over it. Clara's mom recommended a therapist, and he can help. Just don't despise me, Ashley. And my mother sobbed on my shoulder. It's been almost a month since then. The visits to the psychologist really helped. My relationship with my mom has improved, and I'm so glad that she and I are like two close friends now. And last week, I met a guy and we started dating. And my mom is totally cool with me standing in front of the mirror and styling my hair and putting on makeup. I'm so glad that's solved. How are things with your mom? Do you get along well? No problems communicating? Write to me. I'm very interested.